Today's Earth Day. The policy consequences look very dire, throwing a wet blanket over the boom. Sorry, Earth Day. Making these huge changes when none of it's necessary, it's a dire Earth Day. Not because we're choking on human-made carbon emissions, but because the phony and duplicitous government policy responses is going to make this a bad day unless they are stopped. Let's go to our first guest who knows a thing or two about all this and then some. My great friend, former Energy Secretary, former Texas Governor Rick Perry. He knows a whole lot about this. Welcome back, Rick. It's great to see you, sir. By the way, I talked to your wife today, and it was charming, as always, because I was looking for you everywhere. Now, let me ask you right off the top, are we in a climate crisis? Are we in an existential threat?
Well, actually, we're making some great progress when you think about and really look at the numbers. From 2005 to 2018, we cut our carbon emissions in the United States by more than any other country in the world, particularly when you take into account the economies, certainly more than any European country. So the answer to that is just a flat no. And Larry, here's the interesting thing. You know, I was listening to your presentation. I'm sitting there going, is this just a well thought out plan to stop the American economy? I mean, this is a stunning amount of nonsense that will destroy the American economy. And here's what we should be doing. Here's what we ought to be talking about. Because of the American technology that allowed for the hydraulic fracturing and the directional drilling that allowed for the fracking boom that occurred and the shale gas boom that occurred, we ought to be using American LNG to go to the big emitters of greenhouse gases, that's China and India, of course, and basically use our diplomatic powers, if you will, sit down with them and say, listen, we're going to deliver American LNG. You're going to transition out of these older, inefficient coal plants that are emitting all of these global greenhouse gases. And we know that you could have a cut by 2030, if my memory is correct, of 50% of greenhouse gas emissions. America does incredibly well economically with that. Their environment gets better. I don't know what the Biden administration is thinking with all of this craziness about we're going to punish America. If you put this plan into place, it will cost the Americans by the increase in gasoline, the increase of electricity cost. I mean, it will drive the cost of living through the roof, Rick, not to mention inflation.
Rick, no, you're right. Yeah. Listening to you, spot on. I mean, there's kind of like two thoughts here. Number one, the global climate ideologues have never been interested in economic growth or prosperity. Never. In fact, all they want is redistribution. They're really on the far left, tempting socialism, if you will. And the second point, your LNG point is fabulous. And in fact, I spoke this afternoon to Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan, and he and a group are putting together an LNG proposal as a kind of Republican position on this. You may have seen it, or you may know about it, or you may be advising them. But the Bidens won't accept natural gas, Rick Perry. Isn't that the problem? They won't accept LNG, and they won't accept nat gas coming out from fracking.
I have to think that there is something deeper here. And that something deeper here is either a deep dislike of the states that would benefit by the production of this. But, I say that, and then I think about New Mexico. Here you have a Democrat state headed up by a Democrat governor, 2 Democrat senators. The Interior Secretary is from New Mexico, and they are about to destroy that state's economy by their federal stoppage of leasing on federal land. I mean, this will absolutely bring New Mexico to its knees. And I don't know how those elected officials can stand up to their constituents, look them in the face and say, gosh, aren't we glad that we elected Joe Biden to the presidency of the United States? destroying the economy in New Mexico. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I got another one for you. I got another one under the, I don't get it, unbelievable heading. The Coal Miners Union. The Coal Miners Union just endorsed the Green New Deal, which will put coal completely out and probably cost 50,000 jobs. Not counting the, knock-on effects, just 50,000 coal miner jobs. They just endorsed it, Rick Perry. I don't get it.
Well, when you think about having a diversity of energy, and I think that is so important, we found ourselves in the early 2000s having only one, maybe two sources of energy, electricity generation here in the state of Texas, natural gas and coal. And natural gas prices went to $14 an MCF. We recognize we've got to have some diversity in our portfolio, and so we really went after the wind energy side of it, and that was a thoughtful and a right thing to do. And I will suggest to you, we got a little too overboard in the last 5 or 6 years on the wind side of it, and we should have been given some incentives to nuclear power, and we should have been given incentives to gas. And the generation of electricity with gas, so that you could have a robust, diverse source of this energy. But that's what America needs. We need a diverse source of energy. If we're going to go to this total reliance upon green new energy, you can expect two things to happen. Number one, the lights are going to go off.
Yep.
The lights are going to go off, and it's going to get real cold in the wintertime and real hot in the summertime, because you're not going to have the power to be able to do this. And the cost of that is going to go up substantially.
Rick, I got to get out. You're wonderful. I just want to say your successor at Energy, Dan Briette, said exactly the same thing regarding the electricity power grid. It's got to be natural gas and nuclear. It's got to be.
Sir.
You could put the other stuff in, the renewables, but it won't work. 75% of it's not non-renewable. That's all there is to it. How the Bidens cannot get this, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the country's at stake. We need you. Need you out there, Rick Perry. All right, we're losing you. I'm never going to lose you. Rick Perry, thank you ever so much. Great friend. He's a terrific energy secretary.